Imagine reaching into your pocket for a penny. Just an ordinary brown coin you've seen a million times before. But what if I told you that one of those forgotten pennies from 1973, without a mint mark, could be the single key to rewriting your financial destiny? I'm not talking about $100 or even $1,000. I'm talking about a life-altering treasure that most people walk right past every single day. And here's the part that should make your heart race. Almost nobody knows the secret. In 1973, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents. They were everywhere. They jingled in lunch boxes, they rattled in gas station trays, they slipped between couch cushions. To the average American, they were nothing but copper dust in the storm of inflation. But buried in that avalanche of coins was a mystery, an error so subtle, so overlooked, that only a handful of sharp-eyed collectors ever noticed it. The story begins with the mint marks, those tiny letters that tell you where a coin was made. Denver carried its proud little D. San Francisco had its S. But Philadelphia? For decades, Philadelphia struck coins with no mint mark at all. To the untrained eye, this wasn't strange. But in 1973, something happened that turned a simple missing letter into a fortune. A batch of Lincoln cents left the presses with anomalies so rare that their very existence bends the rules of numismatics. Imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary to the world but hides an invisible crown. That's what the 1973 no-mint mark penny is. Its value doesn't come from glitter or gold. It comes from its story, from the accident of history that allowed it to slip into circulation unnoticed. And like all great treasure stories, this one hides in plain sight. But here's where the plot thickens. Collectors who stumbled upon these coins discovered minute differences. Strikes that were sharper, details that shimmered oddly, edges that whispered of misalignments. First, no one believed them. Dealers laughed. Auction houses shrugged. But then, one by one, prices started to climb. $100, $1,000, tens of thousands. And before long, whispers turned into headlines. A single 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln cent selling for nearly $1 million. Pause for a second. Think about that. A coin worth less than a stick of gum, suddenly commanding enough money to buy a house outright. What would you do if you found one in your kitchen drawer tonight? Would you cash it in instantly? Would you hold on to it, imagining the bidding wars that might erupt in the years ahead? Let me ask you something else. How many pennies have you ignored in your life? How many times have you walked past a coin on the sidewalk, thinking it wasn't worth the effort to bend down? That tiny act of indifference could be the difference between staying where you are and living the dream you've always imagined. Now, here's the part you've been waiting for. How do you know if you've got this coin? Start by pulling out every 1973 penny you can find. Look closely. If there's no D, no S, just Lincoln staring back at you with no mint mark beneath the date, set it aside. But don't stop there. Inspect the details. Is the strike unusually crisp? Does the lettering look sharper, almost alive? Are there signs of doubling or an unusual sheen that feels different from the others? These are the whispers of rarity, the clues that separate a fortune from a face-value penny. And here's a warning. Do not, under any circumstances, spend or dump these coins without having them checked. Too many people have tossed away their future without even realizing it. The tiniest oversight could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So tonight, when the house is quiet and the world slows down, dig out those coffee cans, those dusty jars, those forgotten piggy banks, because the treasure you've been searching for your entire life might not be in a lottery ticket or a lucky break. It might already be sitting in your home, waiting for your eyes to open. Right now, the 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has been valued at up to $873,000. And somewhere, someone is carrying one around in their pocket change without even knowing it. Imagine this. You're at the grocery store, fishing through your change, annoyed that you got pennies instead of quarters. You shove them into your pocket without a thought. But what if, hidden in that dull copper stack, was one coin so rare, so misunderstood, that it could change your life forever? A coin worth not just a few cents, not even a few $100s, but hundreds of thousands. This isn't a fairy tale. This is a story about the 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And the shocking truth is, most people have no idea it even exists. But let's slow down. You need to know why this ordinary-looking coin became extraordinary. In 1978, the US Mint was running like a machine, billions of pennies pouring off the presses. Every detail was planned, controlled, exact. Philadelphia coins were made with no mint mark. Denver coins carried a D. San Francisco carried an S. Straightforward, right? But sometimes, in the world of minting, mistakes slip through cracks so thin they're almost invisible. And one mistake became a miracle. The no mint mark penny from 1978 isn't just about missing letters. It's about the story behind it, the quiet accidents of history. Imagine a press operator working long hours, missing a detail so small it seemed meaningless. That tiny oversight now holds a value that could pay off someone's mortgage, erase debt, or build a future. Collectors whisper about this penny like a ghost story. Some doubt it even exists. But the market proves otherwise. Rare examples have surfaced, shocking the coin community, forcing experts to rewrite what they thought they knew. Ask yourself this. How many people tossed one of these coins into a candy machine? How many slipped through unnoticed, rattling in someone's car cup holder, lost forever? That thought alone is terrifying and thrilling, because if millions have been spent and forgotten, it means a few are still out there, waiting. But here's the cruel twist. To most eyes, this penny looks ordinary. Copper brown, scratched, tired. People let them slip away because they never knew the signs. That's the tragedy of fortune hiding in plain sight. And yet, it's also the beauty. Because the person who knows what to look for, the person who slows down, examines carefully, and sees what others missed, could become the one holding a life-changing treasure. So how do you know if your 1978 penny is the one? Start with the mint mark. If you find a penny from that year without a D or an S, and it shows the distinct qualities experts prize, strong strike, correct weight, no signs of alteration, you may be holding lightning in your hand. But be careful. The market is flooded with fakes, altered coins, and hopeful illusions. Only certified grading can unlock its true value. I'll tell you something personal. A friend of mine once shrugged off his old coin jar as junk copper. He almost took it to the bank. But something stopped him. He dumped the pennies on the table, and there it was. A coin he nearly gave away for $1 worth of change. That one coin ended up paying for his daughter's college tuition. Not bad for pocket change. And now I'll ask you, what's sitting in your kitchen drawer, in that jar collecting dust, in that forgotten purse in the closet? Could you be overlooking the very thing that could give you freedom, security, even wealth beyond what you thought possible? This is more than a coin. It's a reminder that history hides treasures in plain sight, that the smallest details can transform into the biggest opportunities. And imagine this. You're holding an ordinary penny. Brown, worn, nothing special. You drop it on the counter without a second thought. But what if I told you that penny could have been worth nearly $1 million? And what if the one you just spent at the gas station could have been that penny? This isn't a myth. This is a truth buried in America's pocket change. And it begins in 1980. Back then, the US Mint was under pressure. Billions of coins flooding the system, machines running at full tilt. And when you push a system too far, mistakes happen. Quiet, microscopic errors that slip past the eyes of inspectors. Most disappear, unnoticed. But once in a while, a coin emerges that is so strange, so unexpected, it defies belief. The 1980 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is one of those ghosts. You see, every penny is supposed to wear a tiny signature, a mint mark. Denver, San Francisco, Philadelphia. That single letter tells the story of where it was born. But in 1980, a small run of pennies were struck naked. No mint mark, no identity, as if the mint itself tried to erase its own mistake. Collectors whispered about them for years. Some claimed it was a fluke. Others believed it was intentional sabotage. And then one day, a man sorting through a jar of loose change noticed something odd. No D. No S. Nothing at all. Just a plain face where a letter should have lived. He didn't know it at the time, but he had just stumbled across a life-altering fortune. Why does this matter? Because in the world of rare coins, absence is everything. That missing mark turns a 1-cent piece into a holy grail. Fewer than anyone can count exist, and the demand has only exploded. Imagine the weight of knowing a penny, a coin millions throw into fountains without a thought, could suddenly pay off a mortgage, clear every debt, and buy the kind of freedom most people spend their entire lives chasing. But here's the real twist. Most of these 1980 no-mint mark pennies were spent decades ago. They're out there, circulating quietly, buried in forgotten coffee cans, tucked in dresser drawers, hidden in old piggy banks, which means the next person to find one might not be a seasoned collector. Could be you. Think about it. How many times have you emptied your pockets at night, tossing coins into a jar? How many times have you paid exact change without looking twice? What if the key to a fortune slipped through your fingers already? What if it's still waiting, sitting in the dark, patiently waiting for you to notice? So here's what you need to know. Pick up every penny from 1980 and examine it carefully. Look just below the date. If there's no letter, no mint mark, no tiny stamp of origin, you might be staring at history's most overlooked jackpot. Don't clean it, don't spend it, don't shrug it off. Protect it. Verify it. Get it into the hands of someone who knows its worth. Because right now, one of these rare 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies has been valued at up to $880,000. And yes, that's real. A coin you could find today, in change from a grocery store, could be worth more than most people's homes. So the question is this. Will you let this secret pass you by, or will you take a second look at the pennies sitting in your pocket right now? Don't underestimate the smallest coin in your hand. Sometimes the tiniest treasures hold the power to change your entire life. And if you want to keep uncovering hidden fortunes like this, make sure you subscribe. Because somewhere out there, your once-in-a-lifetime discovery is waiting. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, so forgettable, that you've probably tossed thousands of them into vending machines without a second thought. But what if I told you one of those coins could secretly be worth more than the house you live in? 1 penny. A single 1987 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. Hiding in plain sight. Right now, it could be sitting in your change jar, or worse, it could already have slipped through your fingers. Why this coin? Why this year? The story doesn't begin in your pocket. It begins inside the walls of the Denver Mint in 1987, a year that most collectors barely glance at. To the untrained eye, these pennies are just another copper-plated coin, mass-produced by the billions. But behind those machines, behind the roar of metal on metal, something happened. A few slipped through the cracks. Tiny minting errors. Strikes so rare, so accidental, that even the workers didn't realize the magnitude. And it's those mistakes, those flaws in perfection, that turned an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Now pause for a moment. Think of the times you've emptied your pockets at night. The loose change you've brushed aside on countertops, the jars in your garage, the coffee tins your parents tucked away in cupboards. What if one of those coins, the ones you ignored, was hiding a fortune? Someone already found one. A man who thought he was selling a penny for scrap walked away with enough to change his life forever. And here's the twist. Most people still don't know this secret. You see, the 1987 D penny carries a hidden scar. Some were struck off-center. Others show doubling on the date and lettering. And a handful, so rare that most collectors have only heard whispers, were struck on the wrong planchet entirely. Imagine holding a penny that's not supposed to exist. A mistake the mint buried under billions of coins. That's the kind of coin that transforms pocket change into generational wealth. Let me ask you, what would you do if you found one? Would you sell it instantly, cash in on hundreds of thousands of dollars? Or would you hold it, knowing that with every passing year, its value climbs higher, like buried treasure becoming rarer with time? Because right now, at auction, these coins are being valued at numbers that sound almost unreal. But here's the danger. Most people miss them. They spend them. They toss them into Coinstar machines, never realizing the fortune they just let slip away. That's why you need to know exactly what to look for. Don't just glance at the year. Look closely. If you see 1987 with that sharp little D beneath it, stop. Study it. Check for doubling in the numbers. Check for edges that don't look perfectly round. Check for a weight that feels just slightly wrong. These are the clues, the fingerprints of a hidden treasure that I've seen lives change because of coins like this. People who thought they were drowning in bills suddenly free. Families who never dreamed of owning a home suddenly walking through the door of one they bought with the sale of a coin. All because they paid attention to something most people ignore. That's the power of knowledge. That's the secret I'm sharing with you right now, so here's my challenge. Tonight, when you're done watching this, go to that jar of coins. Go to that drawer in your kitchen. Look at every single penny. Don't assume it's worthless. Don't assume it's just a cent. Because hidden among them could be your escape hatch, your ticket out, your once-in-a-lifetime find. And if you do find it, remember this moment. Remember the whisper that told you it was possible. Because right now, the 1987 D. Lincoln penny has sold for as much as $887,000. Yes, a penny. Nearly $900,000. What if it held a secret so rare, so hidden, that it could change your life in an instant? There's a story buried in America's smallest coin, a secret the U.S. Mint never meant for you to know. It begins with a single mistake. Not a loud, obvious blunder, but a whisper of an error, so subtle, so invisible, that almost every pair of eyes missed it. Almost. Back in 1988, something went wrong. A handful of Lincoln cents were struck without their mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Nothing. Just silence, stamped in copper and zinc. The mint never announced it, never admitted it. And for decades, these phantom pennies drifted through cash registers and pockets, hiding in plain sight. Collectors call them ghosts. Ordinary to the untrained eye, priceless to the few who can see their truth. Imagine that. Pennies worth hundreds of thousands, disguised as pocket change. And here's the most haunting part. Some of these coins are still out there. Right now. Waiting. One man found his by accident. He was rolling coins for the bank, something millions of us have done without a thought. But there it was, gleaming under the kitchen light. No mint mark. A breathless moment. A heartbeat pounding in his ears. That penny would later sell for a life-changing sum. More than he had ever imagined a single coin could bring. He told no one at first. Can you blame him? But the truth cannot stay buried forever. More of these coins surfaced, each discovery like a lightning strike. Each one whispering the same message. Treasure still lives among us. Now, think about this. How many 1988 pennies have passed through your hands? Hundreds? Thousands? How many were dismissed as nothing more than change? And what if the one coin that could rewrite your story was sitting, right now, in a dusty jar on your dresser? The thrill of this chase isn't just about money. It's about history, about stumbling into a hidden chapter of America's story that the mint itself overlooked. It's about holding in your palm a mistake that was never meant to exist, something that survived against the odds. And here's where it gets serious. If you want to find one, you can't afford to be careless. Don't just glance. Look, under the date 1988, you should expect to see a tiny mint mark. A D if it came from Denver. An S if it came from San Francisco. But on this rarest variety, the space is blank. Empty. Silent. That absence is the KEY. Do not clean it. Do not scratch it. Do not toss it into a coin counter. Because the difference between a penny that buys nothing and a penny that buys your future is knowledge. So I'll ask you. When was the last time you really looked at the coins in your pocket? How many treasures have slipped through your fingers while you weren't paying attention? The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny, ordinary to the world, extraordinary to the collector, is a once-in-a-lifetime find. Right now, this exact penny is worth up to $888,000. And it could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to be the one who finally sees it. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a penny, and realizing it's not just a penny. It's a key that could unlock a fortune big enough to change the rest of your life. And the strangest part? Almost no one even knows this key exists. Tonight, I'm going to reveal the hidden story of a coin so rare, so unlikely, that it feels less like money and more like destiny. Back in 1990, the United States Mint made what some would call an unthinkable mistake. For decades, Lincoln pennies struck in Philadelphia carried a quiet but critical marker, a tiny letter P. a symbol barely noticed that told the world where that coin was born. But then, in a twist that feels like it belongs in a thriller novel, certain 1990 pennies slipped out of the mint without that mark. No trace of its birthplace. To the naked eye, it looked ordinary. To the trained eye, it was a ghost. Think about it. Millions of people jingling coins in their pockets, spending them at grocery stores, dropping them into piggy banks, never realizing that one of those pennies had been printed wrong. Not just wrong, vanishingly rare. Imagine finding out years later that what you once gave away for a stick of gum was worth more than your house. But here's the deeper truth most people never hear. This wasn't just a minting oversight. It was a betrayal of trust. The mint's job is to guard the integrity of every coin, to make sure America's money is flawless. And yet, in 1990, an error so shocking escaped into circulation. Collectors call it the 1990 no-mint mark penny, but what it really represents is a living secret, the possibility that the smallest coin in your hand might be a ticket to freedom. Now pause for a second. Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table. Bills stacked up, worries in the back of your mind. You grab a handful of change, and there it is, a dull little penny, brown from decades of circulation. You almost toss it aside, but something makes you look again, and in that instant, everything changes. What would that feel like? Relief? Shock? Or the dizzying realization that your entire financial story just pivoted in the blink of an eye? The last time one of these coins hit the market, it wasn't pocket change anymore. It was nearly $1 million artifact. Right now, collectors are willing to pay up to $990,000 for a single 1990 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in the right condition. That's not an exaggeration. That is the kind of life-altering number that makes people double-check every penny they've ever touched. So here's what you need to know. If you hold a 1990 penny in your hand, bring it under good light. Look closely at the space beneath the date. Normally, you'd see a tiny mint mark, P, D, or S. But if it's completely blank, no letter at all, you might be holding a treasure. But beware, millions of people confuse ordinary coins with legends. Wear and scratches can fool the eye. The only way to be sure is to slow down, magnify, and confirm. And if you ever find one, don't run to the bank. Don't sell it for a quick 100. Protect it. Certify it. Treat it like a rare jewel. Because it is. Every coin tells a story. But this is the story of a mistake so powerful that it rewrote the value of the ordinary. It's proof that the smallest detail can hold the biggest secrets. And it's a reminder that life-changing fortune can slip through your fingers if you don't know where to look. So check your change. Dig through your drawers. Ask yourself, how many times have you let history pass through your hands without seeing it? Because right now, as you hear these words, there is a 1990 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny out there worth up to $990,000. And it could be hiding in plain sight, in your home, in your pocket, waiting for the moment you finally see it. What if the tiniest overlooked detail could rewrite the story of your entire life? Most people never see it. Most people will never even know. But buried in the year 1991 lies one of the strangest, most unexpected secrets of the U.S. Mint. A Lincoln penny struck without its mint mark. An accident so rare, so unlikely, that collectors still whisper about it like a ghost story that just might be true. Now, here's the twist that makes this coin different. In 1991, every penny was supposed to proudly carry its mark, whether from Denver or Philadelphia. But somewhere in the process, a machine slipped. A tiny, almost invisible oversight. And out came a batch of coins with no identity, no birthplace, no mint mark at all. A penny that shouldn't exist, but does. Imagine the betrayal. The mint prided itself on precision. Entire teams of engravers and inspectors were supposed to catch mistakes like this. Yet, somehow thousands slipped through, quietly tossed into circulation, buried in jars, drawers, and dusty boxes across America. And here's the part that stings. People have spent these coins for decades without knowing. Lunch money, toll booths, coffee shops, a fortune disguised as pocket change, lost in plain sight. Let me ask you something. What if you've already touched one? What if you had it in your hand years ago, and you let it go without looking closer? That thought alone should make your pulse quicken. But don't panic, because here's the truth. These coins are still out there, hiding in penny rolls at the bank, waiting in your grandfather's coin jar, sitting quietly inside an old collection that nobody's opened in 30 years. And here's why they matter. Because a verified 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has been valued not at hundreds, not at thousands, but in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some collectors estimate that the highest grade examples are commanding up to $891,000. For 1 cent, stop for a second and think about that. A coin so ordinary looking you could hold it in your hand right now and never know. And yet, in the eyes of collectors, it's a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So, how do you spot it? The first rule is this: don't assume every penny is worthless. Look closely at any 1991 Lincoln cent you find. Most will bear a small D or P under the year. That mark is their identity. But if it's missing, if the space is empty, you may have something extraordinary. Don't rush. A worn coin may trick the eye. Dirt, scratches, or fading can hide the mint mark, but that doesn't make it rare. The real prize is a clean strike with no evidence of tampering. That's when collectors take notice. Never spend it. Never toss it back into change. If you think you've found one, protect it, get it graded, and confirm its authenticity. That single step could mean the difference between a penny and a life-changing windfall. So here's the challenge. Tonight, when you get home, open that old drawer. Dump out that jar of coins you haven't touched in years. Hold each 1991 penny to the light and search. Because the people who find these coins aren't just lucky. They're the ones who cared enough to look. History has a way of rewarding the curious. And right now, someone, somewhere, is holding an unmarked 1991 penny worth more than they can imagine. The question is, will that someone be you? Right now, this exact penny is worth up to $891,000. And it could be sitting in your pocket at this very moment. Imagine slipping a coin across the counter for a cup of coffee, not knowing that the same coin could have sold at auction for nearly $1 million. That's not fantasy. That's the haunting truth behind a little copper coin most people ignore. The 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Why does this ordinary coin carry such an extraordinary secret? To answer that, we have to rewind to a time when the U.S. Mint was under pressure, machines grinding day and night, millions of pennies struck and shipped out into circulation. But in the chaos of speed, in the shadows of routine, mistakes slipped through. Not just any mistakes, one so subtle, so rare, that only a handful of coins would ever bear the mark of error. Most pennies in 1994 were stamped in Denver or Philadelphia. But here's the twist. Some coins, by a bizarre oversight, were struck without any mint mark at all. No D, no P, just the lonely face of Lincoln and the silent echo of a missing identity. To collectors, this wasn't just a flaw, it was a treasure map, a secret hidden in plain sight. Now think about this. What if you already held one of these coins? Maybe it's rattling in your junk drawer. Maybe it's been sitting untouched in a coffee can of change passed down from your parents. What if the fortune you've been chasing your whole life isn't in the lottery, isn't in the stock market, but resting right inside your own home? Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a man in Ohio sold a small collection at a garage sale. One coin caught the eye of a buyer, just a penny, dull and brown, not even shiny. That buyer later had it appraised. Turns out, it was a 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition. At auction, it soared beyond anyone's imagination, climbing into 6 figures. A coin nearly spent for a can of soda became the key to a brand new life. Here's the cruel part. Most people never look closely. They spend it. They toss it into Coinstar machines. They let history slip through their fingers. And that is why so many of these life-changing pennies vanish before they're even recognized. So how do you know if you've got the one? You need to look carefully. Flip the coin over. Examine the space just beneath the date, 1994. If there is no tiny mint mark, no P, no D, no S, then you may have stumbled onto something extraordinary. Condition matters too. The fewer scratches, the sharper the detail, the higher the value skyrockets. A penny with wear may still be valuable, but a coin preserved in crisp, almost untouched beauty, That's where the true magic begins. Now, I want you to pause for a moment and think. How many times have you handled pennies without a second thought? How many chances have already slipped away because no one told you the truth? The truth is, this penny is still out there, still hiding, still waiting to be found by someone brave enough, curious enough to actually look. And here's the number that changes everything. Right now, in today's market, a verified 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has been valued as high as $994,000. That's nearly $1 million, hiding in the most overlooked coin of all. So here's your choice. You can keep walking past pennies on the sidewalk, keep emptying your change into jars without a glance. Or you can start looking, really looking, because if you don't, someone else will. And the life you dream about, the freedom, the wealth, the security, could be the price you pay for not paying attention. Check your coins. Check them today. The next time a penny lands in your palm, remember this story, because the treasure you've been searching for all your life may already be sitting quietly in your pocket. And one last time, let it sink in. A simple 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is worth up to $994,000. Imagine this, a coin so ordinary, so forgettable, that you might pass it off at a gas station without a second thought. Yet hidden inside that same penny, a flaw so rare, so unintentional, it transforms a single cent into a fortune that could rewrite someone's life. I'm talking about the 2003 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And right now, it's one of the most dangerous secrets hiding in plain sight. You see, every coin tells a story, and the story of this penny begins not in the hands of collectors, not in the velvet cases of museums, but in the chaos of the United States Mint itself. Imagine a factory floor, machines striking millions of coins every single day. Precision, repetition, perfection. But then one mistake, a missing mark, a silent oversight changes everything. One penny slips through the cracks without its birthmark. No D for Denver. No P for Philadelphia. Nothing. Just a blank face where the mint signature should be. It's like erasing the author's name from a masterpiece painting. It looks the same to most eyes, but to those who know, it becomes priceless. Now, here's where the story takes a darker turn. For decades, collectors believed that errors of this scale could never leave the mint again. The systems were too advanced, the checks too precise. That's what the experts said. That's what we were told to believe. But the 2003 no-mint mark penny shattered that illusion. Suddenly, it wasn't just history, it was proof that lightning can strike twice, and ordinary Americans could be the ones to catch it. And here's the real kicker. People have spent these pennies without knowing, without looking, without even glancing twice. They've been dropped into vending machines, given as tips, lost between couch cushions. That is the tragedy. And the opportunity. So what makes this particular coin so valuable? It's not just the absence of a letter. It's the betrayal of expectation. The mint stamp is supposed to be ironclad. This disappearance is a crack in the armor. Rarity is not about age alone. It's about error, about impossibility, about the accident no one saw coming. And the 2003 no-mint mark penny is one of those accidents. Now picture this. A man in Ohio once dug through an old jar of change, coins he had tossed aside for years. At the bottom, covered in dust and grime, he pulled out a 2003 penny. It looked normal until he tilted it under the light. No mint mark. He thought it was nothing, just a flaw. But when an appraiser finally laid eyes on it, that ordinary penny became a key to 6 figures. His life didn't just change. It cracked open, revealing possibilities he had only dreamed about. So let me ask you, what would you do if one coin in your home was worth more than your car? Your house? What if you've already touched it, already spent it, already let it slip through your fingers? I'll tell you exactly how to know if you're holding the real deal. First, check the date, 2003. Then, look directly under the year. Normally, you'd see a mint mark, a D for Denver, a P for Philadelphia, or sometimes an S for San Francisco. But on this coin, the space is empty. Smooth, silent, nothing. That silence is your clue. But be warned, many people confuse worn-down marks or damaged coins for the real treasure. Don't fall into that trap. A true no-mint mark penny from 2003 will look crisp, clean, like the letter was never struck in the first place. That if you find one, don't spend it. Don't throw it in a jar. Don't even post about it online without knowing what you have. These coins need to be authenticated, protected, and appraised. And when they are, the numbers will stagger you. Right now, this exact penny, an ordinary coin turned legend, is worth up to $203,000. Think about that. A single cent, forgotten and overlooked, worth more than most people make in an entire year. That's not just a coin. That's a lifeline, a second chance, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. So before you go to bed tonight, before you spend another dime, grab that old jar, open that drawer, sift through every coin you own. Because your freedom, your wealth, your future might already be hiding in the palm of your hand. And remember this final truth. Fortunes don't always come from banks, or stocks, or real estate. Sometimes they come from the quiet jingle in your pocket. 1 cent. No mint mark. $203,000. And it could be sitting right in front of you. What if a coin so rare, so easily overlooked, had the power to rewrite your financial story forever? There is one coin, hidden in plain sight, that most people ignore. A 2004 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Ordinary at first glance. But it carries a secret that has stunned collectors, fooled experts, and changed the lives of a lucky few who stumbled upon it. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you truly looked at your change? Because right now, while millions of people spend these coins without a second thought, a handful of 2004 pennies are worth not cents, not hundreds, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. How can that be? Let me take you back to 2004. The U.S. Mint, like a well-oiled machine, cranked out billions of Lincoln cents. Most of them stamped with the familiar D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But then something happened. Somewhere along the process, a tiny slip, a missing detail, a forgotten mark. The mint mark vanished. It wasn't supposed to. It wasn't authorized. Yet those few coins made it through. They entered circulation like ghosts, seemingly ordinary, yet carrying the mark of an error no one expected. Collectors call these anomalies miracles in metal. And that's not an exaggeration. Think about it, every coin is supposed to carry its birthplace, its identity. To strip that away is like erasing history. The no-mint mark 2004 penny became a mistake the mint never admitted, but one that collectors will pay fortunes to own. And here's where it gets personal. I once knew a man who kept a coffee can full of pennies in his garage. He'd been tossing them in there for decades, never really looking. One day, his grandson, just playing around, dumped them on the table. That's when they spotted it. An ordinary 2004 penny that looked different. No mint mark. No clue where it was born. They almost spent it. Almost. But they paused, checked, and discovered it was one of those ultra-rare survivors. That single coin paid for his grandson's entire college tuition. Imagine the feeling. You've been sitting on a fortune all these years, hidden in plain sight. Now let me ask you, how many 2004 pennies have slipped through your hands? How many are still hiding in your junk drawers, in your piggy banks, in jars of change you haven't touched in years? What if one of them is the missing piece of your financial puzzle? Here's how to know if you've got one of these treasures. Pick up any 2004 penny. First, check for the mint mark, usually a tiny D or S just below the date. If it's missing, if that space is eerily blank, that's when you stop. That's when you hold your breath, because you may be holding one of the rarest errors in modern coinage. But be careful. Don't rush to sell it on the first offer. And scrupulous buyers will lowball you, hoping you don't understand the magnitude of what you've found. Instead, verify it with a trusted grading service. Protect it, because right now, the market value for a pristine 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has reached up to $204,000. $204,000 for one penny. And here's the most important truth: you could already own it. Could be sitting in your house this very moment. So tonight, don't just toss your change on the counter. Don't let habit rob you of a miracle. Take a second look. Search. Because your financial breakthrough might not come from the lottery or Wall Street or a promotion at work. it might already be in your pocket. Subscribe now because I'm going to keep revealing the secrets the mint never wanted you to know. And remember this, sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest fortune. Right now, that 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is worth up to $204,000. And someone out there is about to find one tonight. Imagine tossing a coin on the counter at a gas station, just 1 cent, and unknowingly giving away a small fortune. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But tonight, I'm going to tell you the story of a 2008 Lincoln penny that should never have existed, a coin with no mint mark, and a secret that has turned ordinary people into the stuff of legend. What makes this penny so dangerous, so deceptive, is how ordinary it looks. You've seen thousands of these little copper-colored discs. They blend into your change jar, rattle at the bottom of your car's cup holder, slip between couch cushions. And yet, hidden among the masses, a single one carries a flaw that turns it into a treasure. The 2008 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Here's the riddle. Every coin in your pocket is supposed to tell the truth about where it was born. That tiny letter beneath the year, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, P for Philadelphia, that's its fingerprint, its identity. But in 2008, a handful slipped out stripped of their mark. No P, no D, no identity at all. It's as if the mint erased its own signature. Why? Was it a machine malfunction, a rushed worker, or an overlooked die? No one at the mint has ever confessed. But collectors know this. When the system fails, value is born. Suddenly, an everyday penny becomes a phantom, a ghost coin. And when ghosts appear, the hunt begins. Picture this. A man in Ohio once dug through his father's coffee tin of pennies. Dust, rust, and years of neglect. He almost poured them into a Coinstar machine. But one coin, smooth, bare beneath the date, stopped him. That single coin was appraised for tens of thousands of dollars. Think about that. A fortune almost gone forever in the belly of a counting machine. What if you're making the same mistake right now? Every single year, millions of Americans unknowingly spend or discard coins worth more than their cars, their houses, sometimes even their retirement savings. The 2008 no-mint mark penny is one of those traps. If you don't know how to spot it, you'll throw it away. So how do you recognize it? Start with the year 2008, the very last year before the mint redesigned the Lincoln cent for his bicentennial. Then, look directly beneath the date. If you see nothing, no D, no P, no S, stop. Hold it tight. Don't dismiss it. Because most 2008 pennies do carry a mint mark. The rare few that don't, they can be worth up to $208,000 in pristine condition. Now, let me give you a warning. Fakes exist. People scrape off mint marks hoping to trick buyers. But real error coins will leave subtle signs. The surface around the missing mark will be smooth, untouched, flawless. If it looks tampered with, trust your instinct. It probably is. Here's what you must do. Check every coin you find. Old drawers, childhood piggy banks, jars in your parents' garage. This penny hides where you least expect it. Don't underestimate the smallest coin in America. It might be the one that buys your freedom. So, the next time you feel a penny between your fingers, pause. Don't spend it. Don't ignore it. Look at the date. Look for the mark that isn't there. Because one coin, 1 cent, could be worth everything. Right now, the 2008 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is worth up to $208,000. And it could be in your pocket at this very moment. Imagine this. You reach into your pocket, pull out a penny, and in that single moment, your entire life could change. A coin so ordinary, it's almost invisible. But hidden in plain sight, some of these 2021 Lincoln pennies, stamped with the quiet little D mark of the Denver Mint, are carrying a secret so explosive, collectors are calling them the sleeping giants of American coinage. And the question racing through my mind is this. How many of these coins have already slipped through fingers, spent on coffee, tossed in a tip jar, forgotten forever? Could one of them be sitting in your change right now? Let's go back for a moment. The year is 2021, a year when the world was fragile, uncertain, and the mint, pressured to meet demand, pushed their machines harder than ever. Billions of pennies flooded out, most of them flawless, forgettable, destined for the shadows of circulation. But in the rush, Tiny cracks appeared. Minting errors. Flaws so small they were nearly invisible. Yet those flaws, when discovered, transformed the coin from a single cent into a prize worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine the betrayal. The mint wanted perfection, but what they created instead were accidents of history. Errors they tried to bury, but which collectors now treasure like lost artifacts. Some 2021 pennies carry doubling in the lettering. Some show off-center strikes, ghost-like shadows that should never have existed. And a few, so rare they can hardly be tracked, have mismatched dies, a mistake that never should have left the building. One story whispers through collector circles about a man in Colorado. A man who didn't trust banks, who kept his change in jars stacked in the corner of his garage. One evening, out of boredom, he poured them out. And there, among the brown river of copper-plated zinc, he found a 2021 penny with doubling so sharp, so undeniable, that when graded, it skyrocketed in value. That single penny became the down payment on his freedom, a cabin in the Rockies paid in full. One jar, one coin, one choice to look closer. And now I have to ask you, what if you're sitting on the same chance? Think about it. How many times have you passed a penny without a second glance? How many nights have you emptied your pockets, let coins rattle into a dish, and thought nothing of it? Every single one of those moments could have been the crossroads between ordinary life and extraordinary wealth. But let's get practical. If you want to uncover one of these rare 2021 Lincoln pennies, here's what to search for. First, check the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." If you notice doubling, where the letters seem to echo or blur, you may have struck gold. Next, look closely at the date itself, 2021. Any shadowing, any split lines, could mean you're holding a treasure. Finally, pay attention to the edges of the coin. Off-center strikes, where the design drifts toward the rim, can mean your penny escaped with a flaw worth a fortune. Don't make the mistake of assuming every coin is worthless. Don't let haste rob you of possibility. Hold the coin under a light. Tilt it. Let your eyes adjust. The smallest detail can mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing windfall. And here's the staggering truth. Right now, some of these 2021 Lincoln pennies have sold to collectors for as much as $221,000. Yes, a coin you might have left in the cup holder of your car could be worth more than a brand new home. So tonight, when the house is quiet, when the world has slowed down, grab that jar, that drawer, that dusty coffee can. Pour the coins into your hand. Look closer, because the difference between staying where you are and stepping into the life you've dreamed of might just be hiding on the face of a penny. Check your change. Check it now, because once these treasures are gone, they are gone forever. Right now, this exact penny is worth up to $221,000, and it could be sitting in someone's pocket as we speak.